Hi guys, how are you all today? Good to see you here. Say hi, say where you're from. You never know. The person next to you may be working on software or embroidering. You never know what you're going to get here. And you get to see my little mess behind me today. I was going to clean it up, but I just decided, okay, it is what it is. I'm in the middle of a project, so I didn't want to stop to do that. So give me a thumbs up. Tell me you can hear me. Make sure everything's doing well. Good to see you, Anne. Glad you can make it on time today, early even. Good to see you, Shirley. Okay, so there have been a couple of questions that have come in today, and good to see you, Karen and Jan and Joy. I'm going to go ahead and I believe I'm answering Joy's first, just simply because I have it up on my computer and ready to share. Just kind of thinking what we're going to do. So this one lets me know that, all right. All right, how about now? Okay. So I'll start back again. Evidently, my batteries must have died. So we'll just skip that. All right. I must not have put new batteries in it. My batteries died on me. Oops. So y'all, when I'm at the scan and cut machine, you're going to have to listen a little bit harder because otherwise I'll have to put in a new set of batteries. So the question was, how do I bring in a second image? And we're going to do it in a similar manner because you're going to still scan to Canvas Workspace, but we're going to bring it in, that second image in a different manner. So I've got the first image up on my Canvas Workspace and my image has already been traced. So let me share my screen. All right, so here's my first image, Joy, and it's already been asleep. Okay, it's already been asleep. It's already been up here. I was reading a comment. Okay, so, and you can see, here's my image. I'm going to toggle it on and off, right? You still can't hear me, Sarah? Because it seems like everybody else can hear me. All right, so I have scanned my first image in and I've traced it and I've actually placed mine over the top here. And you can see that the image is toggled on here, okay? So Sarah, it must be something on your end because everybody else can hear me now. All right, so what if I want to bring another one in? Let me switch cameras and we'll go scan something else in and we will bring it in. So I'm over at my scan and cut here. Let me switch screens. So over at my scan and cut here, let's go. I've got something loaded onto my scan mat. I did not load the same budding because I want you to see that it's a different image. So I've got the flower on this side and we're going to scan. Let's flip to the other camera here. So we're going to scan. Let's go back to the very beginning. Scan to the right side, transfer to Canvas Workspace, and just press start. And it's going to scan it in for me. So while it's scanning it in, and I'm talking loud, so did y'all hear all of that? We went scan, transfer to Canvas Workspace. And it's going to say finished. It's going to say transferring, and then it'll say finished here in just a second. And I would touch OK if I were over there at the machine, but we're not going to touch OK. We're going to go back over to our Canvas Workspace here. And instead of touching the leaf icon here, we're going to go up to the File button and choose Import from your cutting machine, Scanned Image. So you'll notice that my scanned image goes to the top layer. If I want it down below, if I just take it and drag it down below, I can then rotate that. If I want to rotate it 90 degrees, I can rotate it 90 degrees. But imagine if that's your bunny, okay? You could then layer it on top of it. But that gives you the availability to be able to see both. And you can toggle both images on and off. And I haven't tried it to see if I could bring in a third image. Let's see. And let me import from my computer here and let's bring some picture in. Just need a JPEG. Let's see if we can bring a third image in. Yeah. So you can bring as many images in as you want. You'll notice I've got 3 images there because they have no cut data, but they're all there. Okay. So are we good on that? Joy, did you get the concept? Sorry about the sound, but we're good. We are good on that. Yes, no, maybe. So, all right. I don't know what's going with you, Louise, but hopefully you can hear now. Don't know what to tell you. It was initially my problem, but I don't think it is mine any longer. Okay. So the second question that I had today that's easy to address is how do I import multiple designs into PE Design 11? So there's a difference between open and import. Open opens up whatever you're trying to open. Import lets you bring multiple things in together. Okay. So I can import multiple designs onto one design page and then save them as one unit. But open, if I open a design and I go back to open another design, it's going to ask me if I want to save the original design in order to open up a new design, because open is opening up something else. So import is the way to go. And you'll notice that if you've paid any attention to me, you'll notice that I always import, I rarely open. And that's because I have this really bad habit of pressing the save button right there. I'm a save girl. And if I have imported things, it will force me to name it. Okay. So you can import, let's say we want to bring in, let's go to our design library and let's just say we want to do lace and ribbon today. If I want to bring in this lace design and I want to add something else to it, I can simply drag it over and drop it onto the screen. Or if I double click it, it will pop it to the middle. Or if I click on it and click import, it pops it directly to the middle. So it all depends on your method of madness. I usually drag and drop the second one unless I'm trying to do, let's say, I believe you are trying to do multiple quilting designs. Multiples of the same thing. So let's say we wanted to do this design right here and we had a quilting background on it. So I'm just going to put some stippling behind this. And so we'll change this to stippling and we'll turn this outline stitch off. And we'll change the order to where the stippling sews first. So now let me center all that. So let's go to select it all, arrange center, and arrange middle. And then we can group that. So now let's pick a hoop size that we could put it in. I believe you were wanting to use the Quattro, which at 8 by 12 is its largest size, which is the 200 by 300 hoop. Okay. Click OK. So if you were wanting to put multiples of that design on here, you could copy and paste. Let's see here. I'm a little bit too big for what I want to do. So let me ungroup that. And if it's stippling that you've done, you can actually resize it however much you want. And you could set a hole if you wanted to. So I'm going to center it again and middle. Okay, let's group it now. If you wanted to fill your hoop with that particular design, you can go to the Arrange Copy tool, choose Matrix Copy, left mouse click at the top and drag, and you'll notice how it's duplicating that. When you left mouse click at the bottom, you'll have them all in there, and then you can do Control M to move them to the middle of your hoop. Does that answer your question? I believe that was, I'm not sure who that one was. Shirley, was this your question? I do believe it was. Now, the other question that I've heard from others is, how do I delete designs from my wireless? And that's done on your machine. So if you're in the Education Connection, Heather and I, if you'll remind me, I will try to touch on that on Thursday during our live on Thursday. So just let me know. Okay. But that's done directly on the machine. And I did post directions on how to do that underneath that question. I believe it was yours, Shirley. But just keep that in mind, that that's how it's done. I don't remember whose question this one was. Yes, you can use your PNG files for the scan and cut. It will image trace a PNG file. PNG files are artwork files. They're not used for any, it's like a JPEG. It's a picture. So yes, that is this Thursday. It was supposed to be today, but Heather is under the weather. So and I was supposed to go out of town. So we just changed it till Thursday. Hopefully she'll be feeling better. Okay. So now, Advanced Quilt Design Software. This one seems to be giving some of you all some problems. So yeah, PNGs can be used for sublimation. You can also, I mean, they're images. It's just like a picture. It's just a portable network graphic is technically what a PNG file is. If you're wanting it to use with your scan and cut, it's just like a JPEG. You have to scan it in and trace it, or you have to import the image into image trace it in order to use it with your scan and cut. Okay, but you can use it as a background to be able to trace around anything as well. All right, so let's go over to Advanced Quilt Design Software, which means I need to open it up. I closed everything out trying to get things done. Okay. Now, here we are in our Advanced Quilt Design Software, and I chose New Quilt. So we're going to start in the block library first and talk about new blocks first. So we're going to go to block, and I'm going to go into my blocks. Let's go into, let's pick an on-point block. Just let's modify something. So we're going to right mouse click on this block, and we're going to choose edit. Okay. Now, if you wanted, or actually, let me address the first one first. Instead, let's make one. Let's make a new block. Let's make a block before we edit one, and we're going to change it to triangular. And there we go. Okay. So the first thing I want you to remember is, if you lasso pieces and you change their color, let's say we give that pink, until you unite them, they are all going to cut in individual pieces parts if you send that to your scan and cut. So this is a reminder, you always want to unite. So if you're wanting something to cut as one unit, unite it. Okay. The other thing that I've been asked multiple times about here this week is, all right, I've got my block. I'm ready to work on it. Let's manipulate this one a little bit. And let's say we want to break this one apart. And I'm going to make some different triangles in the center just to give a little bit of difference. So I'm going to lasso those, and we'll unite them, and we'll make those yellow. And I'm going to lasso this side and unite them, and we'll make them orange. Okay. So there we go. We've changed our block up a little bit. Now it's time to save it. If I'm wanting to go to the scan and cut, I don't do it from here. And the reason I don't do it from here is because I may not want it to be an 8-inch block. Okay. These are pieces, Jan. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to save to my library first. We're going to save this as 004 modified, just so I remember what it is. And now it's going to go into my block library. If we go over here, there it is. So let's go and put it in a quilt. If I only want to cut one of them, that's fine. The first thing I need to do is decide how big I want my blocks. So let's say I want my blocks 12 and I only want to cut one. If I only want to cut one of them, that's fine. If you want to cut multiples, you put multiples here. But I'm going to go with one for right now, because even if I do multiples, it's going to be the same block here unless I change things up. If I change my mind and decide, you know, I think I want 3 blocks and I want this one to be, I'm going to copy this and paste it into the last block. And let's put this one in the middle block just for the heck of it. Do I like those colors? No. Would I change them? Yes. So if I want to change those, I can come up here and let's right mouse click on this one. Let's do piece select, right mouse click, and let's choose select same in quilt, and we'll say by color. So now it's going to pick all of my blues up right there, and let's change them to that lighter blue. So if I want to come and grab this one, let's right mouse and say select same in quilt, and let's do by color again. That's the only one that's there in that color. So let's just change it to a little lighter of a color. So now let's right mouse click on this one, say select same in quilt by color, and let's change all of those to that peachy color that's in the other one. Right mouse click on this one, select same in quilt by color, and now we can put that in the darker yellow. So now our block kind of matches, except for this one little odd duck there, and I don't really know what color to make him. So let's change this block up a little bit. I can't unite here because I'm not in a block. I'd have to go back to my block tools and play with that block again. So if I want them to be the same color, that's fine, but they're still going to be pieced. That would be a half square triangle unless I want to go back and edit that block. So I've decided, you know, I think that block needs to be edited. So let's go over and right mouse click on that block and edit it. Let's grab those 2 pieces. We're on the block tools. Now we can unite them, and now I can change them back to that yellow. Okay. So now we can save this. Save it to your library. 20 modified. If I can type. So let's go back over to our quilt, which is the first square, and we can take the 20 modified 2 and drop it right there. Now all we've got to do is pick our colors. Select same in quilt by color, and let's make it, what did I do earlier? Let's make it that light blue. By color, I'm going to make it the peach. By color. There we go. So now it would kind of go together. If we right mouse click on this one, select same in quilt by color, and let's make it the same paler yellow. Okay. And let's go ahead and do this one too, because when you get it in there, it looks like it needs to be that same paler peach. If you want borders, you can put them in there. You make them. I would personally not do mitered borders at this time. I would do blocked or striped horizontal or striped vertical, whichever one you want. Block is going to give you the corner pieces. If you're starting, mitered are not your friends. And you can decide whatever size you want those to be. You can make them proportional or not proportional. That is up to you. What your preference is. I kind of like them proportional, but y'all can do whatever you want. It is your quilt. You are the designer. No one says we're not the quilt police here. If you want another border, simply add it in, and you could say striped vertical on this one if you wanted to, so that it kind of changed things up a little bit for you. You could also, but I liked horizontal better. You can add a third border. You're not limited. So you can sit there and stack them up however you want. So let's go to border 2. So now that I've got 3 borders, I want to change border 2, and I think I want it to be bigger. So we'll make it 3 inches. And then you could select your border 3 from up here, and you could make it 3 or 4. You are limited only by what you want to do. So it's going to let me make it 4 inches. Oh, that one goes 4.5. So this one should go as well. I just didn't click hard enough. There we go. And you could actually come in there and change your colors. So if you right mouse click on this first one, you can say select same in quilt. Well, actually, we need to be on block select because the sashings and borders are technically block parts. So we're going to select all in this border. We can say, all right, I want you to be that yellow. Right mouse click, select all in this border. And let's make it blue. And do the same thing for the last one. And there you go. So now you have your quilt designed. But I'm going to take my borders down to where I have none, just because I don't want to deal with borders. So we're going to make this 0 and this 0. Okay. I'm now ready to send this to my scan and cut machine. So how do I do that? Let's go to our Tools tab. And we would choose Export Project here. One thing I really want to stress is you want to make sure you change your seam allowance to 1/4 of an inch. Okay. The other thing that I suggest is increasing your spacing to 0.20 inches. And put a check mark between override spacing between objects. That allows you to have more space. And let me come here and explain why I'm saying that. So what I would tell you is that if you give it just a little bit more space, when you pull the excess fabric off of your mat, it'll all come away cleanly instead of leaving you little bitty pieces of threads that you have to get off of the mat. When I took that down to 0.10, it was so thin that what was left there was stuck to the mat and only came off in little pieces. So I found after playing with it that 0.20 is my favorite number when it comes to the spacing between the objects. Okay. So now, very important, you want to save your quilt block to file. Save it to your library. If you save it to your library, it will automatically be put in there. You can choose which scan and cut mat that you plan on using. So if you had in borders, you may want to use the 12 by 24. It will probably give you an error message on borders simply because they're normally going to be, especially if you're doing a quilt, they're going to be longer than anything you can actually cut with a scan and cut. Tell it where you want it to go. I'm going to leave mine in my Advanced Design Quilt Software folder, and we're going to call this Live Runner. So this is a cute little table runner. It will export it out as a JPEG as well. If you plan on using that on one of the machines with my design center in it, so if you're going to take that to your Luminera, for instance, you would want to make sure that your DPI is 100 DPI. And I think the default's 300. So let's go ahead and say export. And there it is. These are all of my pieces parts. So I'm going to go to my view and change it to large icon so you can see what it did for you. It gave you all 3 of your images. These are all of your different cut files. And it breaks them out by color. Okay. Now, if I'm going wirelessly, I would go back to my Canvas workspace on my desktop. And I would go new page, file, import from my computer. And let's go see where that is, Advanced Quilt Design Software. And what did we call that one? Facebook Live Runner. Here's my baby blue color. There it is. So then I come back over to my Advanced Quilt Design Software and I see, okay, what's baby blue? Well, right there is going to be your baby blue. If we go back to our quilt and say piece select, if you look right there, it shows you that is baby blue. If you go down to your thread palette, that tells you it's baby blue. This one's going to be melon. And this one's going to be your yellow. So cream brown, technically. And you've got all, those are your 3 colors in there. So if you have multiple sections, let's go back and look at our file folder. So it has baby blue 1, baby blue 2, baby blue 3. It's got everything that it can fit on a 12-inch mat because that's the mat that I selected. So if I selected a 24-inch mat, I would get more pieces on it. And there's my baby blue 4. Here's cream brown 1, cream brown 2, cream brown 3. So you would select each color that you want and transfer those over. All right, so I'm here in Canvas Workspace. I would simply go File, Export Transfer FCM, and I would transfer it via the internet. Now, if you don't want to transfer it wirelessly, you don't have to. Just copy all of those files that it exported for you onto a USB drive and take them to your scan and cut machine. You can do that easily as well. Okay. Any questions so far? And Caroline, yes, I'm thinking it's making a culture out of me. That's the project that I've got behind me I'm working on. You can see it. I'm trying to get ready for the Facebook Live this month, and I've got to have a bunch of step outs. And I'll tell you that I'm a cutting queen when it comes to cutting these pieces with my scan and cut. It is making me into a quilter because of the scan and cut. Okay. And yes, Tracy, I agree. It is much easier to delete designs from the machine when you have that upgrade because that allows you to select multiples. And like I said, I'll show that. We'll show it on Thursday. All right. Any other questions for me today? You all are awful quiet today. Yeah, and I've thought about that as well. There's no reason you can't serge your pieces. That should be right about 1/4 of an inch. So I just would probably turn off my knife. It does make it so much easier to create it and cut it and get it going. You don't have to. The nice thing I think about the Advanced Quilt Design Software is that it's not really advanced technically. It allows you to use tools. It's more for those of us that are not true. I mean, we haven't dived into this wholeheartedly. We're dipping our toe in the water. But it's got some really cool tools in it. So you want me to send your step outs, send you some step outs? Yeah. You ought to see how many remember my, what one was that? The modern shamrock table runner thing. I've got a few of those hanging out. And I do love how easy it is to transfer it as well. I personally, that's how I do it. I'll go cut all of one color out. And actually, if I know that my half square triangles are all the same size, I'll cut them multiple pieces out multiple colors out that way. Well, why have you been getting nowhere with it? Have you been using half cut? What kind of HTV are you using? You got to give me more information than that one. And I'm pretty sure I did a Facebook Live on HTV last year. It was the sewing one, showing you how to put different layers together so that you could do multiple colors. I'm pretty sure I did that on Brother with Angela. Terry, it's similar to EQ8. It's not as complex. And so having said that, there are some things that this one does and that one doesn't. And there's some things that EQ8 does and this one doesn't. So this one's got a ton of blocks built into it. It allows you to use them together. And I'll kind of give you a few more previews of other things, but I wanted to make sure you got this part first because that seems to be, I think it was Velvet that was having the problem sending designs to her scan and cut, and that's how you do it. All right. Oh, yes. How do I associate more than a PEN with more than one machine on our embroidery? Hold on. Let me log into my account. I'm going to do that I'm going to do that in the background here so you can see. Let me sign in. Oh. Okay. So let me bring this over here and I will show you this one. All right. So you log into your account. All right. And here's my welcome, manage my account, change my advert thing, edit my down. So when you log in, this is where you want to be. If you don't see my account, you want to go to account options right there. This should pop up automatically unless you've added something to your cart or something. Okay. So this right here, edit your downloads to model associations. This is where you add machines to it. So if you can see right now, this one is tied to my PRS 100. So if I want to add a model, I touch add model and I can have 3 of them in here. So I've got an SE625 on this one. Also associated with this account. I don't think I've done my Luminaire at all, but so I could add that model, save the changes. And you'll notice now I have both of those items to use, both those models there to use. And so you can see which ones I have multiple models. So now if I go to my account again and I want to download that, I can go view my downloads and I can say download the one to my SE625 or download it for my PRS 100. Okay. All right. So, does that answer your question, Marilyn? You need me to do that one again? Just go into your account settings, edit your download, or I think I said edit your downloads, and then associate a your new machine. So if you haven't added that machine to your account, let's go see if I can remember where that is. If I go back to my account, I can say add or edit the machines that I have registered. So right here is where I can add machines to my account. Okay. So that, I actually need to drop a few of mine because I don't have those anymore. I don't have those 10 needles anymore. So that's where you would go to view and edit and add machines. Okay. All right. So you're having a hard time finding designs that you want? Well, Karen gave you some suggestions here. I get a lot of emails on some, but I go looking for SVG files based on the subject that I want. So if I can't make it myself, I'll go look for an SVG file based off the topic that I'm wanting to go for. So if it's sewing, I go do an internet search for sewing SVG files. If I have a machine that I no longer have, let me go back into my account options, add or edit the machines that I have registered. And let's see here. I don't actually, I have all of these still. So I have a 1050. Yeah, I still have my 1055 and that one's active. But if you want to remove one, you can come and grab one, edit, and you can say machine status active or not active. So that's where you would say if it's not one that you want to use anymore, just turn it on to not active. Okay. And I'm giving y'all all my account settings here. You get to see all my information. All right. You certainly can scan something in and cut it out. She's just looking for ideas, Patty. You can scan anything. There is no way to remove a machine from Brother that I know of. Don't worry about it. Somebody else will register it. If it's one you no longer own, I do not think there is a place to do that. I'll have to look at that one. That's a question I've never tried to do. Yeah, you got to be careful about where you get your source and what you can use things for. But yeah, I'm telling you, I do an internet search for images, and if it's something that I have to pay money for, I pay money for. That's very doable. Are you trying to add the applique to the outside edge? And I agree, Crafty, with Marilyn. I agree. I have found a lot of images on Etsy. I've downloaded a whole thing of softball stuff at Christmas time for my nieces, and because I didn't want to sit there and try to figure out how to make one, or what to make, and it was easier to say, okay, pick your image because this is your shirt. Okay. Yeah, you can certainly find outline. There's tons of stuff that are free of copyright, royalty free images are generally what you're looking for. Read the fine print. I'm not your lawyer, so read the fine print on what you can do with any image that you find. If it's got a watermark across the front of it, that means they are copywriting that image, and they do not want you using it. Okay. All right. Well, you want me to play a little bit more in Advanced Quilt Design Software, so that's what we'll do. Okay. So what else can I do with this? I'm going to come in and go to File, New Quilt. And I'm going to go and grab some blocks because I want to show you one of my favorite toys that this program has to offer. And I do mean one of my favorite toys. So I've got these 2 blocks. Oh, we want to throw a third one in. Let's see if we can find one that's kind of got that coloration that looks like it would be fun. I could always change the color. Oh, this one might be fun to throw in there. And let's add a 5th row. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change these blue colors right here. So I'm going to go piece select first, right mouse click, select same in quilt by color. So I'm going to change those to this darker blue, which is this one right here. And I think I'm going to change this color, these colors right here, same in quilt by color. And I'm going to change them to that color. And I'm going to take these, select same in quilt by color, and I think I'm going to change them to this color. So now my blocks kind of match a little bit better. Let's come in here and just change that one to say blue. And I'm going to hold my control key down and grab all of these, or you could do select same in quilt by color, and let's change those to, let's go with this color right here. All right. So now those all kind of match in color and they go together. But I'm going to right mouse click and we're going to say, actually, I want to go to block select now. I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to paste it here. Oops, undo. Copy, and I'm going to paste it here. And then I'm going to select this whole roll by holding my control key down. And we're going to right mouse click and copy all, and then we're going to paste it. Oh, it's not going to let me do that, you little turkey. So I'm going to have to copy and paste the rows that I want. Paste to selected row. Oops, undo. Paste to selected column. There we go. Paste to selected row. I keep doing the wrong thing. I want to do column. Evidently, I forgot to copy. Right mouse click, copy, paste to selected column. Right mouse click, copy, paste to selected column. Now we're going to say we're going to have fun. I could have done every other, I could have done rows, whatever, but this gives me kind of what I'm looking for. But here's what I want you to play. quilt variation player. So here's the first variation of my quilt block. And you'll notice it did just one block. And it changed. So here it changed that block inwards. So look at the difference. Not a lot of difference there. Alternation, random. And when you choose random, you can sit here and play with that. And it will go through various variations of that quilt layout that you just did till you see one that you like. When you see one you like I said, this is random. So when you see one you like, press pause and say, okay. And now you've got a totally different quilt layout based off of what you pasted in there to begin with. You want to try it again? Let's do quilt variation player again. And you can hit the arrows to sit here for each one of them, rows and columns. So this one's rows and columns, and you can play through that. Inwards. Now it's rotated to where this is the outer block and this is the inner. I kind of like that one. Alternation and random. So if we do inwards, and there's no changes on that one. So random and rows and columns are the ones that give you the arrow button at the bottom to be active. And I truly find this to be just fun to truly just watch. You get different things every single time. When you like it, click OK. I actually liked the other one better, but you can play all you want. So let's see here. There you go. Well, you could do that. I'm not real sure exactly what you're at, if you're asking me a question or if you're just commenting today. But yes, Patty, there are so many possibilities, and that's just from 3 built-in blocks. So that quilt randomizer is quite fun. Let's take it one step further. And Tracy, I'll answer your question in just a second. So let's take it one step further. Let's go over to the Tools tab. You have a color theme designer as well. So you remember how I changed those colors, but if I want to come in and I want to say, all right, let's apply a theme. I can say, I want you to do summer hues. And it changes the total look of that quilt. I can come in, well, let's reset it because I always like for it to go from the original. Let's say we wanted holiday hues. I don't know that I would consider that a holiday hue. So let's reset it. I'm not sure what color it's pulling from. Say y'all say my favorite color is pink. There you go, pinks. I'm going to reset it again. Let's see what it does with winter hues. Well, that's definitely a different look. But you can sit there and ooh, I kind of like that one. You can sit there and play with it until you find that you like it. If you put it on your design page and you're like, oh no, I'm not crazy about those purples, undo. Undo's a girl's best friend. Okay, Tracy. You set out your sewing order by accident. Yes, you can bring it back without closing the software. I'm going to show it in 11, but it's the exact same as it is in 10. So let me come over here. And this is probably the last thing we're going to do today, unless there are other questions that I have not responded to. So if you move your sewing order, close your sewing order, do whatever, and it's gone, and you go back to your View tab and you turn it on and it's not docked, you can simply tap it on the top and it will dock itself back in. If you hide it from yourself, on the other hand, you'll see sewing order with a little orange type tab, or depending on what your color theme is that you have. So hiding is the little pin. So if you hide it, if you hover your cursor over the word sewing order, you can then pin it back into place, which if I do that I don't hide mine. I leave mine loud and proud at all the time. But you are not the first one that's lost either their sewing order, their import window, or their color palette. I've never seen y'all do. It's impressive to me how y'all can do this, because I don't know. You tap something. I'm going to undo everything here, and this is a lesson in my workbooks, just so y'all know exactly how to put things back in place. If you don't want to bother with trying to put it back in place, we can get it back there in place by the default, but you have to close your program to do that. If you want to put them back where they belong, if you grab their title bar, do you see where I put my cursor over the word text attributes? When I come in here to this center part, I want to go over to the right hand. I'm going to actually go center. So I'm going to dock them all here to themselves first. So I'm docking my entire menu to itself first. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to the center, and you see how it goes to that right side? Let go. Now when I take this one and I come and I say dock it to the right side, left side, sorry, and it's back docked in place. And that is how that goes. I mean, it is one of the most common things that happens to people. What happens is you just lightly tap the top of that and boom, it's gone. So, yes, it does update the fabric requirements. So let's go back and look at that before I forget. Because I did mean to show you the printed tools. So if I come up here and I go up to my print and print preview, it gives you the overall quilt. When you go to the next page, it tells you what your finished size is going to be based on the block size that you selected. And I selected an 8x8 block. So if I up that block size, then my overall size is going to be different. Number of pieces per block varied based on the block. Number of total pieces, 917 total pieces in that one. And there are 25 blocks. It has me having a border of 4x4, and I guess I didn't turn that off. So when I go to the next page, it's telling me how many of these each pieces I have. And so this is giving your kind of your fabric requirement. When you go to the next page, it's the second part of that. These are your actual cut templates. These are the actual size that they need to be. You can print those out and cut them out if you want to manually cut instead of using a scan and cut machine. We would have to export this if we were wanting to do the scan and cut. So it's giving, these are all of your pieces. And the reason I like the scan and cut too is you'll notice that this is 6.16 inches. Well, I don't know that I'm that precise, and my scan and cut is. So it's giving you what you need to cut here. Cut one strip of fabric, 5.21 inches. These are your directions on how to cut things out, and this is your little tutorial on it. When you choose next page, it's going through each color telling you what you need to do. And then this is your basic map of what you've got in there and what you're going to put together. And there it shows you. Okay. All right. Tracy, to remove an overlap, it has to be something that you have created if you're wanting to use the remove overlaps tool. It has to be something that you have created in PE design, in layout and editing. If it's not, I'll show you what we've done before. Okay. So let me go File, New. When does remove overlaps work and when doesn't it work? So let's put in 2 circles here. And shapes, let's change this back to a fill. And we'll make this one a different color. Okay. So you'll notice that these are 2 shapes that I've made. I did not purchase these designs. These are 2 shapes that I've made. So if I want to remove the overlap, I can select them all, modify overlap, remove overlapped stitches. And you'll notice I've got now a little crescent moon cut out of my blue. All right. If I tried to do that same activity with a design that I purchased, and I select it and I say, you'll notice remove overlaps is not available. That it does not let you do that. So I don't remember if I can do this in 10 or not. Let me look. There is somewhat of a way I can do it in 11, but let's see if 10 will let me do it or not. I don't care on that one. Huh. Well, there must. Okay, my 10 is not wanting to open up. So I don't know why. But in 11, I'm going to put this in the center. And let's change my hoop size just so we're not dealing with something so big. Okay. So the first thing I would do is select this piece right here. And I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to convert it to an outline. And we're going to say convert whole to an outline because we're not going to use this. We just want it an outline to where we can cut the hole out. Then you can take that, hold the control key down and select the base piece, select patterns, modify overlap. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. There's too many hole sewings in there. Oh, I've got two. That's why. This is my second one. Let's change its color so we know the difference between the two. So we'll make the green one. So select that one, hold the control key down and select the base shape. Select patterns icon, go to your home tab, modify overlap. You can remove overlap or you can set hole sewing. I prefer set hole sewing in this situation. But then you'd have to turn on all of the little pieces parts down through here. So all of these little pieces parts. Oh, what did I just do? I hit my stitch simulator. Sorry about that. I'm going to hold my shift key down and I'm going to select all of those little pieces parts. And we're going to change them from not sewn to a fill stitch. And we're going to change that color to the same color as our background. And we would move that up into place and make sure it's going all the same direction as the other. Then you can get rid of this guy. You can select that. Actually, we're not going to get rid of it. We need that there. So we need to say not sewn. But you'll notice I've got a little bit of a problem right there. So let's see if modify remove overlaps does a better job. And let's undo all the way back. So let's come here and select here. Home, modify overlap, remove overlap. Okay, so that does work. Now we can come and say not sewn. There, nope, still have the same issues. There's that little tip in that design that will not work. So that is the workaround, but I can't remember off the top of my head if 10 has that in it or not. And for some reason, my version 10 is not wanting to install today or not wanting to open up today. So I don't know why. It could be, I haven't opened 10 since I went to Windows 11. So it may be a conflict there. Okay. All right, guys. There you go. I'm pretty sure if you go ask them, they might just make a deal, Cindy. Especially if you're saying, I want all this. I'm pretty sure they'll make you a deal. All right, guys. You all have a great rest of the day. Who did I have with an angry face again? Gail, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did, or maybe you hit it by accident, but I hope we didn't make you upset. All right, guys. Y'all have a great rest of the day, and be sure and send in your questions. You're going to notice that I am traveling some this month. So the Tuesday of I think it's the Tuesday the 19th. I will not be doing a live from here. I'll be on a plane. Yes, that's Tuesday the 19th. We will not be having a software shut-in fun. I may try to switch that, but my day before that is awfully busy and it is tax day. So probably not going to happen that week, but I should be back the next week. All right. You all have a great rest of the week. Stay safe. Have fun. Enjoy. I'll see you on Thursday. Remember, if you've asked to join the Education Connection and you have not been approved, that means you have not answered the questions or agreed to the terms or both. So you will not be automatically entered. And I do need to say one last thing. The pattern that I used today to scan in to use with Canvas Workspace was from the Whole Country Caboodle. I have permission from her to use her pattern, but if you want it, that's where it came from. All right. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week unless something major happens. Bye. Thursday, hold on, let me answer that question. Thursday is at 2 Central, okay? And that actually is already posted in the group. So you should see there 2 Central. It will not be on this page. It will be in the Education Connection group. Heather and I will be in there, okay? All right, bye.